The bed is still cold from the broken window, and not too inviting. But it's yours. You've earned it. The fan stands still. The switch must be broken, because nothing happens. The lights are on. The lights are off again. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's barely covered in steam anymore. It's your... The window stands broken in its frame. The morning light hurts your eyes. The door is closed. This door can open still nothing.
Morning. Looks like we can get to work at once. The union muscle turned up. They look rowdy. We should talk to them. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. Everything points to the dock workers' union. The belt used for hanging him, tracks in the mud, the circumstances in Martinez, my preliminary information. Which may, of course, all be wrong. But we still need to talk to them, and it won't be easy. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the union. These men here. Men who drink beer for breakfast? There's talk of an armed wing of the union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for state policing. I think it's them. That would just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. Solving one murder isn't worth a conflict between the RCM and the Debarders Union. In fact, even the death of 2 detectives might not warrant an all-out war. So let's keep a cool head, okay? One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms. But aren't you curious to know what they have to say about the murder?
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide is fine by me.
Can I help you? Got the 20 real? Then why are you wasting my time? Another thing. Great. I love those. What are you, a cook now? That's none of your business. He wasn't pan-fried, he was lynched. What could the kitchen possibly have to do with... Fine, okay. The kitchen is closed until 1 p.m. because the cook is working. You can snoop around after that, if you must. Oh yes, that door, sure. There's nothing mysterious about it. It's just a door. No, I don't have a key. I don't know how to get there. And I don't care either. It's not like I've been wondering about it for 10 years. It's just a frit warehouse, probably. Or some boring storage space with a bunch of old junk and dust. Junk and dust.
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not convincing.
Fine, okay, a little. But my job doesn't leave me time for wondering about one locked door in one of the cafeterias I manage. So I haven't opened it. I have cleaned the whole place 100 times over, though, after the animals. And I haven't found a key, so good luck with that. Yes?
Just a moment.
She's agitated, judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
And there's no public phones nearby?
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear. Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there, or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead, too. The manager was vague about it.
Why would he be vague about phone problems? This is something to look into later. Ask God, maybe.
To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and our friend Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel.
A little missing persons puzzle might just be the thing to take your mind off the hangover.
That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully. But you have more important things to worry about.
More important than a missing expedition? I don't know. Expeditions often lead to something interesting.
Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect. But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the water lock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What could be keeping them?
The water lock. That was broken. Could this be it?
Oh, sweetie, it's nothing like that. Gary's as loyal as they come. I trust him with my husband's life any day. Oh my. What happened to the water lock? Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful. To both of you. You've spared me another sleepless night.
You're welcome, ma'am.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband.
Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that vanilla murder investigation.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the water lock's been repaired. And it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, yes. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more precise.
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends.
That's one opinion, yes. And people are entitled to their opinions.
She's used to playing off such insults casually, but they still affect her.
My apologies, ma'am. I did not mean to undermine your hobby.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology. One specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume them to be extinct or even fictitious. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless, and frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are rarely interested in supporting real research.
The quality of research at Revacholian universities has been on the decline, but you doubt there was ever a time when cryptozoology was embraced by the academic elite.
Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite gentle.
You can't go around Revachol feeling grown men's hands. If you want to find her husband, you'll need more concrete information.
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's description.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow. By a dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident, and he'd just divorced. We hit it off, and, well, here we are.
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
I hope I've been useful. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating. But I shouldn't bore you with entomological minutiae.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Well, it's a phasmid, technically, but...
Ah yes, Phasmatodia, a diverse group of insects whose bodies resemble twigs, leaves, that sort of thing. Ghost insects, colloquially.
Where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. It disguises itself among the reeds here on the Insulindian coast. Hence its name, the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the phasmid with us, officers.
I knew it. We're gonna be chasing made-up insects with cryptozoologists.
It's not made up, officer. I can assure you. It's simply elusive, so much so that most establishment zoologists doubt it exists at all. Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect that looks like the reeds. Gary sent us the clipping. Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid perfectly, and they didn't even know what they were looking at.
Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkle behind her glasses.
I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insulindian phasmid. All scientists have their little hobby horses. Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully? Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie. Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it stayed hidden all these years, centuries even. Oh dear, I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. It is very special. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure. Oh, hello, dear. There you are again.
You're an enthusiast.
Oh, hello, dear. There you are again.
You're an
Oh, hello, dear. There you are again.
There's really no point in manipulating anyone. She'd be only too pleased to tell you about her work. Go on and ask.
Oh, I'd be delighted. Truth be told, I could really use the company too.
One cryptid, not a couple. One. This won't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza.
He nods and assumes a waiting posture. Ooh, tough choice there.
What an interesting question. And the answer is yes, there are.
Of course. All fairy tales have someone or something invisible in them. Okay, I won't spoil your fun. What is the invisible cryptid?
It's the Col de Mamadaqua. Its name means thin whisper of sound, and that's precisely what it is.
Col de Mamadaqua can also be translated as a whisper light and low.
plenty. It's the evidence that when playing back recordings they had made in the foothills, the scientists soon realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the Col de Mamadaqua. They grew quite obsessed with these little birds. Sequester, Time, Joscan, those are but some of the Mamadaqua. Yes, although
Fine, I'll bite.
many scientists have asked the same question. It could be. As I said, that is, they tried to communicate.
They cancel each other out. Psst.
Exactly. After that,
Of course.
I'm glad you did, dear. What about what?
Hey, you promised you'd only ask about one cryptid. I'm glad you see it that way. Did we have anything more to do here?
A thin man is smoking below an exhaust hood, occasionally sipping from his mug. As you step in, he nods toward the table and says something in a completely foreign language. The only words you can make out are Goransi and Kubek. Okay, it's definitely not his name. Whatever you do, please don't call him Goransi Kubek. Please, it's not funny. The man puts his cup down and replies something, his left hand drawing arcs in the air. He smiles and bangs his ladle against each of his pots in turn. It's almost like music, especially with the sounds of assorted dishes boiling and simmering on the stove. He looks up at you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. Shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's behind that door.
Let me handle this. Detective Disorientated, are you still wondering where you are? This is Martinez, in case you've forgotten. I advise you not to overstay your welcome.
Her entire character has shifted. This young woman is cold as ice.
No, I am not a gardener. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? Maybe he does. That's Titus. Talk to him. But know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming. Nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make arrests.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest, if we have to.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her.
Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor. Do you have hearing problems? What you want is of no significance, officer. Don't test your authority. In Martinez, you are no one. What are we going to do to you? The Union isn't going to do anything to you. It is not a crime syndicate. It is a labor organization.
Goddamn right it is.
If anything, it is the RCM who do things to people. But we digress. Aggressive, you make your living enforcing violence. These people are just dock workers.
Just dock workers? Do dock workers spy on the police? We let you off easy, miss. Don't think it will happen again.
Listen, you moral intern lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. No one is emotional here. Do your job. Aggressive?
Just
Listen.
Fuck.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. I don't need privatization.
Just
Listen.
Fuck.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Get sober.
Just
Listen.
Fuck.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Look, a comedian. Do your job, ask your questions, then get out.
Strange. It's as if people don't believe a cop could be a socialist revolutionary.
Aggressive.
Just
Listen.
Fuck.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Let's.
This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, "Whirling in rags." With a well-oiled crack, the lock pops open. It should now be possible to simply raise the lid. Don't. Maybe you shouldn't. Just a feeling. A warning from some part of you. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste.
we're just in time. This hasn't been emptied for over a week.
You see milk, an egg rest with one broken egg in it, some pasta wrapper. Picking up the soggy packages somehow feels familiar. You've done this before. The movements are recorded in your elbows, the methodology in your fingers. You're used to this. A box falls into pieces in your hands. Baptiste Soleil cereal. There are plastic pasta packages below, and turbo noodles. Nothing of note, however. You see, you've done this before. The movement? No. Searching for evidence in the trash. A box falls into pieces in your hands. Baptiste Soleil cereal. There are plastic pasta packages below. And, among the threadbare kitchen towels, something catches your eye. A pair of denim trousers. As the legs of the slime-covered jeans begin to unspool from the garbage, a rank corpse smell fills the air.
The victim's clothes? Cadaverine odor is faint. If these belong to the deceased, they were removed when he was still in the early stages of decay. Drop them in here, officer. Guitar-marked blue jeans. Pockets empty or emptied. He wore them with a belt, too, a white belt. The loops appear stretched, but the belt is missing. That's it. Do you see anything else in there? I have another bag here.
Something slimy catches your eye. A drab, long-sleeved shirt, olive-colored, appears from the food waste, dripping with pus.
This is a military-type overgarment. No label or serial number. This is the kind of rib-knit shirt that's worn over light armor to conceal it in an urban scenario. Anything more?
The rest of the rags are just kitchen variety waste. A yellow old mug that catches your eye. But other than that...
All right. We should go to Gart again and ask if he knows who put the clothes in the trash. It could be as simple as someone from the hostel cleaning the yard. Or that one. I'd advise against confronting that force.
Kids! You hear that, Kuno? He thinks you're an infant or something.
See? Not really. All we know is the victim's clothes are in the trash. The lid was locked and his establishment had the key. It's just a small loose thread.
The lieutenant nods, then looks back into the trash container. It's just organic waste, cold and slimy on your hand. What's this? A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple peels. It's shiny. Looks like the corner of something. Something larger. A clipboard. A blue plastic clipboard with moist papers hanging from it. They look badly damaged, but you can still make out forms and notes, written in a man's handwriting.
Officer, is that your paperwork? It is. Look, the plastic has the RCM street grid on it. You've even got an autopsy form in there. If you don't mind me asking, how did this get in the trash? Boring. Try dangerous. You should do a thorough inventory of that. Be sure some has not fallen into the hands of the RCM's enemies, organized crime or worse. Official notes sometimes contain informants' names, even undercover operatives. It would also not hurt to start taking notes on the case. Now, tell me what your eagle eyes see. Or are we finished?
Some items, such as the ledger you found, are interactable. Go to your inventory and select the Interact tab to read your paperwork.
You pick out a broken mug with an oddly racist depiction of the yellow man frolicking in saffron. only in its social sensibility. The container sounds a muffled gong.
That's one thing off the list. I think we got it all.
It's the ledger you found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of white and yellow papers hanging from plastic board, barely held together by a metal clip. This sad display is made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. There's a piece of toilet paper, or is it cleaning tissue? No, it's toilet paper, desperately sticking to the back of the blue plastic clipboard. It's a metaphor for you. Thank you, waterlogged ledger, for spelling it out for us. It's just toilet paper sticking to the back of the plastic clipboard. You can take it off if you want. If you want it to be kitchen tissue, it can. It's not though. It's toilet paper. Still wet, the toilet paper, I mean kitchen tissue, sorry, peels off the plastic easily. All you have to do is shake it off your finger and voila, the ledger now looks marginally better. An aluminium block runs the width of the board, biting down on the paperwork. Its crocodile teeth are the only thing keeping the papers together. A regular pencil, the tip worn down to nothing, has been attached to the clip. The surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. It's rectangular, sparkling with iridescence. You don't know how you didn't notice it before. Looks like an official mark, made to be low visibility outside the right circumstances. It is similar to the RCM watermark on your blazer the lieutenant mentioned. Didn't he say something about the headlights of his motor carriage? That you can read these there?
What? Yes, halogen watermark used for adding information to RCM property. It depends. Aside from an anti-counterfeiting stamp, mine has my station number and address. The information varies by date of issue.
Maybe yours will have how many cases you've solved.
Any capable light with the right wavelength will do. Yes, RCM vehicles have headlights tuned especially to reveal halogen watermarks.
This means you can read the watermarks if you just turn the lights on.
Okay.
While a bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard in your hand, it's a sorry sight. They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol, and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper itself is checkered, with faint red lines, forming short paragraphs. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate, due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But there are at least 20, maybe 30 cases, undertaken, not completed, mind you. It's the middle of March. You have attempted 2 cases a week on average. What do you mean? Is that all? The notebook is annual. It says 51 on what remains of its cover. A molten strap of cardboard. Everything prior to this must have belonged to a previous volume. In short, there was more.
Huh? 2 complex cases to undertake is a lot, yes. You really have to push yourself. I would not suggest it, lest you start making mistakes. 2? That's a lot. I didn't mean to say you are making mistakes, by the way. That was presumptuous of me. It's okay. We all make mistakes.
Like a fan of gills, the checkered papers dry in your hand. The handwriting is extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the margins. Yet, still more tellingly, most are accompanied by a name, a title, one might say even. One that draws inspiration from snoop fiction and vespertine cop show staples. Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Another yet, The Unsolvable Case. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the hookah parlor. Even the rare article-free collapsing tenement. Murder features prominently throughout. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close.
You mean the alphanumeric? Officer, precinct, time of arrival at the scene? Oh, you mean the titular? Yes, well, so do I. In our defense, almost everyone in the RCM does. It's a holdover from the early days of the RCM, right after the revolution, when the organization had little idea how to do things. It persists in an unofficial capacity. Officers use these titles to refer to their work among themselves. Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one the man with the hole in his head. That was a real person. His death was real. Still, I named it that, to amuse myself. I pray his loved ones never find out. Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a workplace accident.
There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms in the case into subtasks to accompany. Complete. The tasks you've completed flow out of the kind green ape pen in a brash freehand similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's almost robotically simple, a language developed for mental rigor and simplicity. Inspect the victim's body. Interview the cafeteria manager. It's not exactly poetry, but poetry would be out of place. A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. You're done, it seems to say. And you, and you. You're a swashbuckler with that pen, Harry, and it feels good. Feels like completion. Things to be done and things already done. The composition of reality. This is an extremely useful tool for a detective of the citizens' militia. Now all that remains is to name the case.
No, actually. Any ideas? Great. That's great. That's actually what I was thinking too. The Hanged Man. Good, strong name. We have a very good name for the case now. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out.
You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. Arson, petty theft, spousal abuse, handwritten logs on... You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. Yes, you can piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. It always begins with HDB 41, then date of initialization and time of arrival on the scene, followed by the title. For example, HDB 41120111700, the Next World Mural. Why yes, your precinct number is 41. Every last alphanumeric in the files begins with it. And these are your case files. It's safe to say HDB are your initials. I got nothing here either. Logic really isn't the best faculty to have this conversation with, but it's the one you got. So sorry. It takes about half an hour to piece one together, using the system you've devised. Where do you want to start? This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The building is a sparsely inhabited ghost tower, part of a failed real estate development called Grand Couronne. Cause of failure, rent too high. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes, a man and a woman, are kissing. The text cut into their form reads, "True love is possible only in the next world. For new people, it is too late for us. Wreak havoc on the middle class. People call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for miles. In 2 days, the station's complaints desk gets clogged with requests to remove the bummer. You and your partner are assigned to the case. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the belles lettres have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. One of the graffito artists is rumored to be rich. They take responsibility for the execution, but not the design. The ideologue of the Next World Mural, as the crew calls it, remains an unknown. The case files do not show you finding the author of the design. The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. This leads to a debate in Precinct 41, which then spreads to the streets of Jamrock, ending in a rare plebiscite organized by you and the rest of Row 3. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villalobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a lot of rambling on the streets as to how juvenile and stupid the mural is, given a choice between 2 options, staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Turns out the opposition were a loud minority. And that love truly is possible in the next world for new people. And it is too late for us. Did anyone ask you what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger? What do you want to tackle next? Or are we done? Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard.